What's up, guys? We are finally back. We're going to be talking about Chapter 15 of The Mandalorian. So first off, if you guys have not watched it, I do recommend you guys click off the video because this will contain heavy spoilers. Let's go ahead and get into this. It picks up right where we left off, talking about where we see Mayfield, Bill Burr, returning as his character, and we see, of course, Kara come and pick him up to basically release him from prison, saying he was going to be in her custody. And when he does, he's like, okay, why am I here? What's going on? And what was crazy is we see, as soon as the droid's telling him go, go, and then we see where he's like, okay. And what's so cool is we see Boba Fett step out of the Slave One, and I'm going to go ahead and talk about this. That paint job they did for his armor looks dope as hell. I love it. It looks so amazing. And then he's like, oh, okay. He says, whew. He says, I thought you were the other guy. Next thing this kind of lean towards, and here comes Din Djarin, and he comes out. And he's just like, hey, Mayfield. He's like, you got that look like, oh, crap. And he's like, so you here to kill me? He says, no, I'm going to need you to do, get some Imperial. And he finds out, of course, Baby Yoda's gone. He's like, well, okay, let's see how this goes. And what's so interesting is he basically tells him what he needs him to do, and he's like, no, I ain't doing that. He says, but we got to go to Borak. He goes, well, that planet, there's nothing on there. He says, yeah, there is. There's a mining facility for the Empire, and we need to do that. And so they go there, and they're looking to see how exactly they're going to get in with this transport. And we see where the only one that's going to go is Mayfield, but Mando slowly realizes there needs to be two people, and he's looking, and he goes, okay, what do I do? And what's so cool about this is we do see where no one can go. Kara can't go, obviously, because she is now part of the New Republic. We also see where Zig can't go because, of course, she is a bounty hunter, and he asks Bulba. He says, let's just say that they'll recognize my face, is what he says. And so Mando has no choice but to go. They storm, they take over the transport, and then they go on to the costumes. Now, what's really interesting about this episode is we see where Mando has no choice but to wear the Stormtroopers uniform. And I will say this. For him, you can see where as soon as he puts on the uniform, we see where he gives his armor to Kara, and we do see where he trusts her, not just with his life, but he trusts her with his armor. So you can obviously see that their relationship is growing even stronger, not just probably partners, but also, trust and loyalty with one another. And the reason why, of course, she's helping is because of him and Baby Yoda. And they finally get in there, they're going into the transport, and we see where Mayfield's trying to talk to Mando, and try to say, oh, we're the same, I thought y'all could take your helmet off, but apparently you can. And he says no, and he basically kind of tells him, we all have to do what we have to do when we sleep at night. And I will say, Bill Burr, for everything that I looked up, for him not being a Star Wars fan, he actually kicks ass in this episode, because again, I wasn't a big fan of his when they first showed him in the first season of Mandalorian. Then I kind of got a little more accumulated to his character. But I thought it was pretty cool how he explains to Mando that, it's okay to, have your lines and then be able to cross them when basically, stuff goes down. And as soon as they get done talking, they realize all the other transports are getting shot down. And when this happens, we do see where, as soon as that occurs, we do see where Mayfield has to drive, and Mando's saying, okay, we gotta do this. And he basically gets out and starts protecting the convoy that they're trying to transport by showing, okay, and he goes up against like several pirates. We see a lot of hand-to-hand combat with Din Djarin, which is badass. And then we also see where Mayfield's still driving, and right at the last minute where it almost gets blown up, where the transport almost gets blown up, we do see, which was absolutely incredible, where Mando takes on so many pirates, and at the very last minute there's more coming, and we just see them go across the bridge, and we see like a whole division of stormtroopers just gathering, trying to fire at this at these pirates. and he tells them, he says, "I bet you've never been so happy to see stormtroopers now, huh?" And then they go in there, they're getting and from a military standpoint and from a not just a Star Wars standpoint, I thought it was cool how they were saluting the stormtroopers, how they were saluting Mando and Mayfield for just, they were the only ones to survive from, I believe it was 3 transports that got destroyed. And we do see where they get in there and they start, hey, thanks, and they get saluted more, and they're talking, shaking hands, basically congratulating them on a job well done. And they get in there, and Mayfield is about ready to go in there, and we see where he sees a commanding officer, and he turns around and he's like, okay, I can't go in there. And Din Djarin's like, why? And he basically tells him that there is a officer in there that knows who he is because he was under his division, and he possibly may still remember him. And we see Richard Brake, who plays a lot of villainous roles, such as in Doom, as well as also in Batman Begins, and also in the new Tremors movie. So he does play a lot of villainous roles, and he basically tells him, okay, well, what can we do? And he explains to him, this is what's going to have to happen. And he goes, okay, well, he says, give me the hard drive and I'll do it. He says, no, you can't, because if you do, you have to let it scan your face. And he just says, all right, give it to me. And he goes in there, he salutes him, and the whole time I'm watching this, I'm like, okay, is he actually going to take his helmet off? And guys, he does. He takes off his helmet and lets the he lets it scan him. He actually does it. And I'm like, okay, and then as soon as he's letting it go through for the information, and obviously they did this right before the last episode like they did last season, which I knew sooner or later they were going to let us see Pedro Pascal's face. Obviously he plays Din Djarin. Aside from all the BS that was going on behind the scenes, whether it's true or not, I'm not going to get into that. But I did enjoy this. I thought it was pretty cool how we see he's like Trooper. We see Richard Brake's character. He's like Trooper, who is a superior officer, and he just says like, he starts talking to him. He says, you need to talk. You need to give attention when a superior talks to you. And basically Mayfield comes in and he sees what he sees what he looks like, and he basically starts saying, oh, he has some hard hearing, and he's some calm brown eyes, and he's just trying to cover for him. And as soon as they're trying to leave, he says, well, you're not dismissed. And he basically gives them props of basically being the only transport to get through enemy lines to these pirates. And he says, well, let's have a drink. And as soon as they sit down, they start talking, and Din ain't saying a whole lot. He's keeping quiet, and we see where Bill Burr's character, Mayfield, is doing mainly the talking. And he goes, well, what should we celebrate to? He says, how about Operation Cinder? And he says, well, there's a man that knows his history. He starts talking about Operation Cinder. And I will say this, again, for Bill Burr's character to not, for Bill Burr as I would say as a actor and as a comedian who has trashed Star Wars for so long, he actually did very well, and I was so impressed with the way he handled himself in the very last scene. Well, not the very last scene, but in this scene where he shows all the emotion, where he's talking about, how, there was a lot of hard choices made that day, and the one said, yeah, I did, and he goes, yeah, by losing all our platoon, basically losing my entire platoon, and you can just see the emotion in his face. You can see the emotion in his face, like he's pissed, like he's wanting to literally shoot this guy in the face. And he's talking about, he talks about like, yeah, taking all this away from these people that are defending their homeland, and losing both sides of our soldiers. And he goes, well, to the Empire. And as soon as he says that, as soon as he's about ready to lift his glass and say to the Empire, he just shoots him right in the chest. And Din just looks at him like, are you effing kidding me? And then they just start shooting their way out, and we see Kara and we see Zen on the top, and basically we just start seeing them, trying to take each other out. And he gives him his helmet, and he says, I never saw your face. So it's pretty interesting to see how Mando's going to be able to handle that in case, they run into Mayfield again, which they probably will. And they basically shoot their way out. They're able to snipe their way to help Mando and Mayfield, and then they get out. And what was so cool is we see Bulba coming in, and we see where he is able to pick them up and we see 2 TIE fighters going after Boba, and this right here was a callback to Attack of the Clones. We see that energy bomb just blow away the 2 TIE fighters out of nowhere. And as soon as that happens, it gave me a lot of memories to seeing, Attack of the Clones in theaters when I was a kid. And I love that. And I loved how they did this. And at the same time, I thought it was absolutely incredible what they did. And then as soon as they land, we see where it was so cool seeing inside Slave One with this episode here, guys. I mean, we got to see a lot of Slave One. We got to see, of course, Slave One in action. We got to see a little bit more Boba Fett, a little bit, and we also got to see where they're letting Mayfeld go. They basically, Carr says that, it was a shame that, prisoner, gives him prison number, basically, died in the explosion and lets him go after he does blow up the mining field facility, which does show, he has a conscience. He did not like, what his supervisor did, his platoon sergeant or his lieutenant, whoever he was to him, basically, he lost his entire platoon, so he's very pissed off at this guy, and he wanted revenge, and I liked how they put that in there, and I'm like, okay, like, he's got some morals, and, we're learning more about this character, and so they let him go, and Carr asks Din, okay, do you have the coordinates? He says, yes. She's like, okay, so what do we do now? And we go to the ship, and we see where, oh, Moff Gideon, we have transmission. Din Djarin, a.k.a. Mando, man, does this guy got some balls on him. This guy's got some major, oh my gosh. He says the same speech to Mando, saying, you have something I want, and he means more to me than you'll ever know. He gives him the same speech that he gave him last season. And it's like, a lot of people right now, it really reminds me of the whole, like, I don't know who you are, but I'm going to find you, I'm going to kill you from, taking Liam Neeson. And I found that to be really cool. And that's really how the episode ends. And he pretty much is telling him, hey, guess what? I'm coming. And I love that. And I find that really cool that it does show that even though Baby Yoda does get on Mando's nerves at times, he's sworn an oath to protect him. He's sworn an oath to look after him until he is no longer able to, or he finds someone that is willing to help him. And I really enjoy, all these characters that are coming to his side, like, hey, even though, yeah, we have issues, or, I have this, yeah, I'm going to help you. And so this episode is really cool. Probably not as good as, like, last week's episode, but this episode is still absolutely amazing. I can't wait to see the last episode, even though the season will be ending. We're still going to be talking more Mandalorian on this channel. So hopefully you guys did enjoy the episode. If you guys didn't, go check it out. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys are new to the channel, still subscribing. Click notifications as well. That way you guys are notified every time I upload a video. And let me know your thoughts about the episode down in the comment section below. Hope you guys are enjoying your day. Hope you guys are going to be enjoying your weekend as well. So many more videos coming out today as well as the weekend, so stay tuned. And as always, I'll see you guys on the very next video and in the comment section down below.